Do you have to buy the Insta360 little wireless mic, or any of these tons of mics you might have laying around the house work with it? And that's what this video is about. I'm not going to go into the details of how each mic works. I'm just going to test to see if they work on the Insta360 Go Ultra and if they work on the Insta360 X5. The Go Ultra, as you might or might not know, is the one that has the removable camera, and which means that the way that you connect your mic to it is different. So Bluetooth to connect to here, but then you have to do, but wired can connect here. So I'll explain that one a little bit here. So let's put these aside for a second. And let's look at the mics we're going to be playing with today. So we have the oldie but goodie here. We have a DJI Mic 2. This is my least favorite mic, and I will explain why. It's kind of a pain in the ass. DJI kind of just like left it out to die. This is my DJI Mic Mini, which I use a lot just because of its size, but I really don't like the weight. And then I found this on AliExpress. I don't think you can get it on Amazon in America, but this is an actual phone adapter for the Mic Mini. And it'll work with the DJI Mic 1, but it will not work with the Mic 2. Does not work. Only works with the Mini and the Mic 1. So just a heads up before you buy that. I'm going to go from my oldest to my newest. So my oldest mic in this bunch is the ULANZI mic. I actually haven't used this that much. I bought these because they were a cheap version of the DJI mic, and I have a couple issues with them. They do record on the mic just like the DJI does, but they have trouble charging, and they're kind of big and boxy. I don't know. So like when you put them in here, they really don't line up to charge as easily. So sometimes when you close them up, you can't close them with little muffs on them. Let me take these off so you can see it. So when you close it and you put it in your bag, if it's not perfectly lined up, the mics move around and these little sensors on the bottom don't touch right, and it doesn't charge. So you see it's charging now because I've been beating on it, but it wasn't charging a second ago. So that's my problem with these ones, but we're just going to test to see if they work with these cameras, so it's not a big deal. Also, you can see they're a little bit low. This is the second one I bought. These are my favorite. I just don't use them that much because I have other mics that I use a little bit more. But these are the little tiny quarter-sized mics from HOLLYLAND. I like them a lot. The big mistake that I did when I bought these, though, is that I bought them without the little, sensor thing. So I found that this thing was a bit more cumbersome than I wanted it to be. Originally, when I bought these, I was going to be using them with a camera, and I ended up not doing that. So make sure you get this with it if you use these. I love these mics. No problems with them at all. My next ones are these little ones. These are my favorite. They're small. When they're on your lapel, nobody can even see them. They're also HOLLYLAND. And I got them, of course, with the iPhone adapter, or cell phone adapter, I guess. But these ones, when it comes to stealth, you're not going to find anything that's better unless they come up with some kind of button-looking thing. Love these things. And great sound, too. Very simple to set up. But just a heads up, though, they don't work with the receiver for the other HOLLYLAND. So just a heads up, if you want to try to use it with this, it's not going to work. All right. Now my newest edition, and I use these for my podcast. This is the HOLLYLAND Mark II, I think, or Max 2 or whatever. Great sound. The only thing I don't like about them is that instead of a spring, it's got this snap thing, which is cool because it holds them on. But they don't come off so easy, especially if you put them on a t-shirt. This kit comes with everything you need. So you have your phone adapter, which we're going to use, which we're going to test as well. And then of course you have the cell phone adapter, which you can, the camera adapter, which you can also use on cell phone. But what's interesting about these ones is they come with headsets. You can do these stereo or mono. So if you do them as mono, for example, you can have one mic on one person, and then the person they're talking to can have the mic, and then have the headphone that listens to their mic, and then vice versa. So you can do a podcast in a separate. You don't have to be next to each other to hear each other. It's kind of interesting. Anyways, I'm not explaining it properly, but you get the point. We're going to test those out as well. The last mic I have, which actually is my newest mic, sorry, is the this is the new Insta360 microphone preview. It works with the Insta360 X5, but it does not work with the Ultra Pro. I don't know if that's something they're going to fix in the future. And you can't preview and use the mic at the same time. All right, so let's start with the X5. I just put this cover on it to keep it from damaging the lenses while we're smacking this thing around. When you connect the mics, you have to go over to Bluetooth and then attach the mics. So in this case, we're going to try the DJI Mic 2. This is not the one, it's the 2, it's the clear one. We're going to turn it on, and then we're going to put it into pairing mode. See, it's in pairing mode. And then we're going to go into Bluetooth and see if it shows up. All right, there we got our DJI Mic 2. We're connecting it. It says it's connected. And we should see a little bar up front. Test, test, test. Seems to be working. Let's make no noise. Okay, so DJI Mic 2 does connect to the Xbox, the Insta360, no problem. So what we're going to do now is we're going to try the Mic Mini. Okay, so you see it's disconnected. So let's go back over to Bluetooth and headset, and then we're going to go ahead and turn on the Mic Mini. And we're going to put it in pairing mode. You'll see it's blue, green, blue, green. See if it shows up. Sometimes it takes a second. Are we still in pairing mode? Yes, we are. I find that the Mic Mini is the only one that takes a little bit longer like this. I have connected it to this before. It's just that there it is. For some reason, it doesn't pick up as fast as the other one. All right, so now it's connected. And let's see. There we go. Testing, testing, testing. And let's silence. All right, so it's not creating any noise and it is working. Okay, now when you connect it directly to here, you're not going to get all those features from the DJI software. Just a heads up on that. All right, so let's go ahead and disconnect it. Now we're going to see if we can connect it via the USB. Now, once you open this up, this is no longer waterproof, just a heads up. So I haven't tried this, so we're going to try something new. I don't know if it'll fit like this on its own. It does, good. And then we're going to go ahead and turn on the DJI. And we're going to put it into pairing mode again, because we don't want it to connect with Bluetooth. We want it to connect to the green. So see the green? Green is a different type of connection than the blue. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and press the connection here to connect. It's looking. Oh, the mic connected to the Bluetooth again. Hold on. There we go. I want it to connect to this. There, connected. So you see there's like the little yellow light there. That means it's connected, and you can connect two mics. What's nice about this one is that you can switch between the different levels of what do you call it? Sound noise reducing, just by using this little switch instead of open it up. So O is none, L is low, and H is high, of course. So now it's connected through this USB-C. So let's see if it's actually working. Test, 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 test. Oh, look, it is working. So I got this from from AliExpress. They do not sell it on Amazon, but it does work with the Insta360. That's pretty awesome. Okay, the Insta360 X5. Okay, so now let's test our next mic. So we're going to turn off the Mini. And we're going to pull this out. And apparently we were recording. I did not realize I hit record. Okay, so officially DJI so far, the mics that I own. I do not own the DJI 3 or the DJI 1, but if the Mini attaches with this, then the one will work. So you're good to go with DJI. Now, what the heck is this? This is an adapter so that you can plug in those camera fobs directly into this. So not all of the mics will work through the fob, and we're going to see this. So that's where this comes in. This basically is a mic adapter like the old DJIs used to have, so you can connect an actual, use the actual camera receiver for these mics. Okay, so let's go to our next mic. Let's start with, well, this one we know works. So we can turn this one on. We're gonna go ahead and take this off just so you can see that it's working. By the way, I'm using the original Osmo. Good quality. No reason to buy a new one. All right, so it automatically connected in this case because this is it vibrates. So right now it's using the microphone. So you see how it's connected. So we know the Bluetooth microphone works, and this one records at a 42 float, I believe. So now what we're going to do is we're going to switch over to camera. And now it's in shooting mode. Now remember the microphone, you notice that it's not showing here anymore. The microphone is no longer usable when you're doing preview. So you can't do preview and mic at the same time. So if I turn on mic, you see the preview disappears, microphone is working again. Okay, so just a heads up, I love this thing. This is great, but you can't use both at the same time. Okay, so let's go ahead and disconnect that. Just a heads up, when you turn this off, you can turn off both the camera and the mic, but in this case, we just want to turn off one, so it gives you the option to select what you want. So in this case, we just want to turn off the remote. So, all right, Insta360 remote works. Just remember, this does not work with the Insta Ultra, the Insta Go Ultra, okay? All right, now let's go oldie but goodie. I love this one. Now we have two problems with this one. Well, one problem right away. So this one has the adapter for the camera, right? So I had to buy this piece separate because I didn't buy it with the first one. You can buy them together as a kit. But the first thing I want to do is see if these things are actually going to connect by Bluetooth, right? Is it possible? I'm not entirely sure. I don't think they are, but let's find out. So let's get back into the screen. All right. Let's go to Bluetooth. All right, so let's go ahead and start looking, and then I'm going to go ahead and put this into pairing mode. And apparently it turned the power off instead of going into pairing mode. All right, so it's pulsing, you see that? It's in pairing mode. But I do not think it will show up. One thing I think is interesting with this is actually charged. Come on. So, just to speed things up on here, you can't connect this directly to the camera. So you're going to have to use an adapter. So unfortunately, this is something that it lacks that the DJI Mini does. The DJI Mini will work by itself, but this one will not connect directly to the camera without the receiver. So what we're going to do first is we're going to test the USB receiver since we know that the Bluetooth won't work. So we're going to go back to our main screen. There we go. And we're going to connect the controller or the receiver. So we see it's lighting up now. Now, I remember this problem. Okay, you see this right here where it says reverse charging? This does not recognize the HOLLYLAND USB-C receiver. It thinks that this is an actual battery pack. So the battery that's in this is supposedly charging the camera, right? Of course, that's not going to work, and you don't get any other options here. So unfortunately, you can only use these little mics if you use the adapter, this thing I told you about, the Insta360 mic adapter. So how that works is you don't have to take this off. You can if you want, but you don't have to. Is you basically, you snap it in here. Oh, maybe you do have to take it off. Can't remember. There we go. There you go. So you snap it in here, and then it's going to basically give you a mic port. Where the heck? Oh, don't record. Okay. So it's going to give you a mic port. Now let's test to see if this works here. I don't think it is. I think this is just for charging. Yeah, see how it didn't power up? This is just for charging the Insta360 while you're using the mic. So now if we take this receiver and we plug it into the camera, we'll see right away, instantly, the mic is working already. You see that? Test, test. Okay, so that's how that works. So just a reminder, you're going to have to use this adapter if you want to use these HOLLYLANDs. The USB-C will not work at all with the X5. All right, let's move on to the next one. Such a cute mic. Great conversation starter. You know, I used to wear these mics all over town and nobody even knew I had a mic on. It was great. Okay, now let's move on to the HOLLYLAND. I don't remember what these are called, Mark IIs or something. But anyway, so we're going to go ahead and try again to connect the mics using the USB adapter without the plug-in. So we see the lights coming up trying to connect, and once again it thinks it's charging. So that won't work. Which is a problem. Oh, which by the way is a problem for me because I didn't buy the camera adapter for these. So sadly, I cannot use these mics, these wonderful mics at all with the X5, but you can with the Go Ultra, and we'll see that in a second here. So let's go ahead and put these away. So sadly, these little mics will not work at all without a camera adapter, which by the way, these will not link to the camera adapter that comes with these, a completely different signal. So make sure you get these with the camera adapter. All right, so sadly, that's not going to work out. All right, so, all right, now let's go to the last ones here. So now we have the new fancy dancy, Max 2s. I love these. A little expensive, but I like them. Pro level audio. Let's go ahead and plug in the USB-C adapter and see if it'll connect. Once again, same problem. HOLLYLAND does not, the USB-C adapter does not work. So let's go ahead and use the camera adapter. And we're going to need, well, let's try this both ways. So let's see if the USB on the back of the camera adapter, which by the way can be used on cell phones, iPhones, can be used on the 360 X5. So we're going to plug it into the USB-C. I don't think this is going to work, but we're going to try. Let's plug it in the camera. And the camera does not even recognize it. So unfortunately, oh, it does. Okay, so testing 1, 2. All right, great. So you can use the USB-C on the back of the new Max 2s to connect to the camera without an adapter. So that's good to know. So let's test to see if it works with this as well, because you're going to want to charge at the same time, right? So let's go ahead and plug this in. Let's unlock, okay. And let's plug in our HOLLYLAND. So our HOLLYLAND is working. And let's get this thing a little bit closer. Testing 1, 2, testing. Nope, it recognizes it. Oh, it recognizes that there's a mic, but it doesn't go through. So this is where we would have to use the audio adapter. Now, if you notice that there's 2 audio adapters on this, one of them has a little camera symbol, and one of them has headphones. So one of them, you can actually listen through headphones with this, because this is designed to work with a professional camera system. So, whoops. Oops, let's go ahead and lock that screen so I don't accidentally hit that. Okay, so there we go. Mic is working. Whoops. Testing 1, 2. Okay, so the mic works through this. So you can adapt. The new Max 5 will work through the USB-C on the X5, but it won't. But the other HOLLYLANDs won't work. Okay, just keep that in mind. Okay, so now that we've tried out all of these mics on the X5, let's go ahead and give them a run. Put this X5 back together. Let's go ahead and give them a run on the Insta360 Go. Just gonna put this back together so I don't lose it, because that's what I do whenever I take anything apart, is I lose pieces. And this is, there we go. There, now it's waterproof again. And I'm gonna put it back in my favorite case. This case is kind of cool, by the way, if you ever get it. So basically you snap it in here, and it's like a switchblade. So once you put it in, you go ahead and you screw down the 3/8, and then you have this cool little stand if you need it, or you have a handle, and you can use the new camera mode with this. If you pull this little lever, there you go. You can go ahead and take pictures or whatever. It's a pretty cool little thing. And then you just snap it and put it in your bag, and it's all ready to go. Okay, so on to the baby. Okay, this one works with a lot more mics, but you have some limitations. And those limitations are pretty simple. The Bluetooth microphones, like the Mini here, only connect directly to the pod. They do not connect to the pod through the USB. Okay, so if the pod is attached to the base, then you can use USB mics. Otherwise, you just have to use Bluetooth directly to this. So let's go ahead and turn this on. One thing I like about Insta360 is they're always updating. So now that this is on, let's go ahead and test a few things out. So first of all, we're going to use the USB adapter for DJI, and we're going to turn on our mic and see if it recognizes. Okay, so it's connected, and there we go. Test, test. So it works fine through the adapter. Now we want to connect the mic through Bluetooth. So the same as you did with the X5, you're going to go in here and find Bluetooth. Oh, they put it under accessory. Ah, okay. So they just had an update recently, and I didn't realize this. They put the Bluetooth underneath accessories. So you can see I've had a lot of this stuff connected already, but let's give it a try. So let's go ahead and put it in pairing mode. And let's see if we can connect to it. There we go. That connected pretty easy. And if we come back here, test, test, test. Now what's different now is now I can remove the pod, and it is still recording on the pod. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and put this back together. So now we know this is the only mic. Well, actually, that's not. Shut this off. There we go. Microphone disconnected. Now let's see if we can do the same thing with the mic too. I think I mentioned before, I really hate this mic. It's got so many problems, and there's no way to update the mic. For some reason, it doesn't even have an option in the new software. So let's go here to Bluetooth, and we're going to be putting it in pairing mode. And let's look for mic 2. There it is. And let's try to connect it. It is connected. And since it's connected through Bluetooth, once again, it'll work with the pod out. So testing 1, 2, testing. Okay, so it works great. So let's just connect that. So DJI is taken care of. So the USB will work as long as it's in the pod. It will not work once you take out the camera. Then you need to connect the Bluetooth directly. Now that we know that, there's going to be some limitations on these other mics. Since these mics do not connect via Bluetooth directly, the only way these mics will work is if you have them, the HOLLYLAND mics, is if you have them directly connected through USB. So if I come here and I connect the little HOLLYLAND pod, I'm going to put it this way so we can see the lights. And then we take out a little mic here. Boom, test, test. It's connected. Everything works great. Now let's try to do the same exact thing with the camera adapter. So once again, we're going to try the USB version, a way of connecting. So we're going to connect to the back. There's no mics out right now. That's fine. And let's go ahead and connect here into, I might have to take this out of the case. Yeah. Hold on one second. Whoa. Perfect reason I have the case, but I got to take it out anyway. So let's go ahead and connect. And then let's pull out a microphone. And let's see if it works. There we go, it's working. Test, 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 test. All right, so it works to USB. Now you'll notice that there is no way to connect a 3/8 adapter or any type of other headphone adapter, so you'll have to connect it through that. So let's go ahead and move on to the next HOLLYLAND. All right. So now you have, oh, did you guys want me to, oh, that's for the other HOLLYLAND, okay. Now let's go ahead and test my favorites, the little button ones. So let's go ahead and connect it in a way that we can see the lights. There we go. We're connected. Test, 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 test. There we go. Test, test. So it works. It works with these. But once again, you can only connect it through the USB. You will not be able to use the mic or record on the video if you take this pod out. And the last one, we're going to test both of these. So let's take our little mic out. Let's put our little adapter in here. You notice how fast these connect too. All right, test, test. Okay, so they work. Good. Now let's see if they work with the camera adapter. Now there is a USB on this, but I don't know if it's just charge. I actually haven't tried this before. So I'm going to connect the USB and I'm going to plug it into the camera. And let's see if it connects. Test, test, test. Now it shows, oh, there we go. There we go. It works. Didn't know it would do that. All right, that's great. So now we know exactly which mics will work with the Insta360 camera, so that you know you're not stuck with buying the Insta360 mic. I don't believe there's anything wrong with the Insta360 mic, but I do believe that we should be able to use the equipment that we already own. So I tested older mics and newer mics on both of these cameras, and for the most part, all of them work. So I hope this answers your questions. If you have any new questions that I didn't answer, go ahead and ask me in the comments, and I'll be happy to answer them. All right, take care.